Good evening, boys and girls. This is George with Custom Tied Flies and Guide Service. And this evening, we are going to be building the CT Dirty Hipster. The hook is Montana Fly Company 1703. The thread is Danville Fly Master 140 denier in black. The hot spot is Danville Fly Master 210 denier in the hot orange. The tail is Whiting Farms Hen. The flash is one strand of pearl Flashabou. Excuse me. The dubbing is olive beaver dry fly dubbing from Nature Spirit, and the legs are barred black and white Nature Spirit Waspi barred silly legs, and the bead, it's a silver bead to fit the size hook you're gonna build on. So this is a size 12. So I'm using a 3.0 millimeter silver bead on my size 12. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put 5 wraps of 0.02 lead in the body. And that's going to go right up behind the head, right behind the bead. You just kind of push it up in there. Next up, you're going to get tied in with this orange 210 denier. I use the Danville Fly Master because it's a flat thread. So once you get tied in behind that lead, you're just gonna get that lead wire pushed up again the back of that bead, and take some kind of loose containing wraps around the wire, and then you can get a little tighter, but you want to kind of cover that wire up pretty good. And then run that to the back. Sometimes your hook is going to come unadjusted. And you got your hen feather. You're just going to take a clump, just pull it right off the stem, gather it together between your thumb and index finger. Alright, and you want this to be a little shorter than the hook shank. And it's okay if it ends up going up on top like this, because that helps with the profile of the bug. There we go. Now that's the part that's going to be sticking out. So and I found it works better to give that thread a twist so it rounds up, and then you just take 2 turns with a whip finisher, and that's plenty to get it to stay where you need it, as long as you need it to stay there. So then you get your black 140D and tie it in right at that low spot. And you get your one strand of Flashabou. Kind of fill in that low spot with like a thread ramp. There we go. And then bring that Flashabou up and tie it in on the far side of the hook shank. That'll make it easier to wrap, counter wrap towards you when that time comes. And you have your olive dubbing. You just want very small little wisps. You're just trying to color the thread. That's all you're trying to do. And you want a dubbing noodle a couple inches long. Remember, it's easier to add it than it is to take it off. Couple of half inches here. Wrap this pearl Flashabou towards you, and you want some space in between those wraps because it's a rib. So you want to be careful it doesn't slide down on top of itself. Sometimes you get that. You might have to put a little pressure on it. To get it to space out kind of evenly. There we go. Now the next thing is your sili legs. So I have found that if you cut the sili legs a little short of 1.5 inches from a long strand, when you fold it over, you get a little less than 3/4 inch for your leg. And that ends up being about the right size. So you want to take a loose wrap, then a second one, and get your legs placed where you want them. Then the same thing for the near side ones. Take a loose wrap, and then a second one. These wraps are not really tight. That's coming here in a second. Okay, and then once you get them placed, you give that thread a tug and it pops the legs out. And you got some black dubbing for the collar. And this is just Hareline black dubbing number 7. Get your dubbing noodle a couple inches long. Take a wrap around the middle. Take a second wrap around the middle. Then take a wrap behind each of the rear legs. And a second wrap behind each of the rear legs. And that kind of helps stand them out. Then another wrap in the middle. And then come around the front. 1, 2. And then it's time for a wet whip with UV resin. And there you have it. A custom tied Dirty Hipster. Excuse me. So if this was informative or helpful for you, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can also find this and other tutorial videos, plus a bunch of other pictures and information on my website at www.custom-tied.com. That's CUSTOM-TIED.com. Have a splash. Don't forget the dash. Okay. Well, happy tying.